Чакаме аз. Превю, ето. Waiting for AI Talks. Тук изглежда, че работи. Live. Hello, if you can hear us, see us, please drop on a message in the chat. Okay. Ah.
His wife.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, apologize everyone. It's our first time trying streaming directly to YouTube. So even that we done some tests before. There's still some challenges, which are a bit surprising for us. We see that on our devices that there's some delay even.
Yeah.
But yeah, finally we make it. So yeah. From now on, all of our session we plan to host in YouTube, stream directly, and let me start the recording. So, after 3 sessions regarding the AI adoption, where in the first one we introduced the overall framework, in the second we discussed a bit of the leadership alignment, and today is the third one, where we will dive deeper in AI Center of Excellence establishment, the importance for AI Center of Excellence, how, and also we'll discuss how impact the overall AI adoption framework, the different phases. But as usual, first we'll start with the updates for this amount of time between our previous session and this session. The updates are enormous. So everybody in the AI field can agree with that. We had 3 major events with in the past 3 weeks, I would say, starting with OpenAI, introduction of their best and newest model, and not only model capabilities, etc. Then on the next day we had Google I/O, which was
pretty outshined by
OpenAI. By OpenAI, and of course week after, or last week, we had Microsoft Build, which was also, I would, at least for me, it was the best of all 3. I mean, it's even that it was pretty mind-blowing what OpenAI did, because it was the last. So.
And also, I mean, since Microsoft works so closely with OpenAI, it kind of complements what they announced as well.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah, we're going to spend some time talking through some of the updates that we saw, what we think is most meaningful from that, and then we're going to continue with the kind of the main topic of the day.
Yeah. So starting with the OpenAI announcements, we're not going to share today anything. And the main reason for that is because it's our first time using YouTube, so you already saw that there's some challenges even for IT guys. But the trend in general is really showing how affordable and accessible become the AI models during the time. So from last year to today. Till today, we got each model, each new announcement cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, easy to use, with more and more functionality. So there's no difference with OpenAI announcement. So they announce not GPT-5 as a lot of people expect, not their search engine,
not GPT 4.5 as people
or
expect,
4.5, or the search engine, even that the search engine. It could come, and we also believe that it will come. But they announce GPT-4o. O is coming from Omni. They showed some mind-blowing videos during the event. They've been uploading videos, I think, even till the end of the week. The entire week they're uploading videos showing just the capabilities of the model.
Yeah.
So, talking more about the GPT-4o, we, of course, as with Nikki, we are using it constantly. So we've been able to test it a lot. Happily, we got access. I think I got access lately the same night. It was like 1 or 2 p.m. or something like that. I saw it. I'm not very impressed, to be honest, from the actual, let's say, chat interface. So chatting with GPT-4o, I would say I still prefer using Quote Opus, at least for a lot of
Text.
things. Yeah, but this is only for chat interface.
Yeah.
But the videos and the capabilities with the ability of the to communicate in real time with Scarlett Johansson, it's just outstanding.
And I think the multimodality is something that people didn't recognize as an option before, because we were able to import pictures, and in other models, visual models, we were able to kind of scan this information, but having it in one package really opens up a lot of different opportunities for applications, integrations, and like Nikki said, the examples that were given for real-time translation, all of the opportunities that we have for service agents and all kind of support. Talking to to me it seems very close to talking to a real life person. So the multimodality options that OpenAI has been working and integrating into a single model allows you to do so much more now. And while the performance of the kind of the chat completions and the things that we already had with GPT-4 Turbo, they are not really they not really excelled from that front, but give
Not much.
the ability to combine video and text along with the already kind of outstanding performance of the GPT model gives you a nice package. And now we're going to talk about this in the announcements from Bill, but having the ability to do this through an API, through Azure or OpenAI directly, this will be a game changing. And also, let's not forget that this is a cheaper model to run.
Yeah, especially comparing with the Quote model, it's I think 2 times or even more cheaper. It's really, really cheap. So if we can, summarize the main goal of the event, they made their module and their services much more affordable, and their focus being on the adoption, not on the, let's say, bringing more a smarter chat interface, if we can say that way. But first of all, they make it free, so you can experience. Right now, everybody can experience 4o for free, because in the past year and something, what we saw with Nikki is a lot of people trying using GPT 3.5. Oh, it's not that smart, and then they never tried GPT 4 because it's paid. And right now they allowed people to try it, to see how it's working, and to see the full capabilities of today's AI, their latest and most powerful model. Combining this with creating the whole experience to be like a very human being. It's made for the people much more easy to consume, to adopt, to make this part of their life at the end. So, as Sam mentioned multiple times in interviews before that, their focus is a bit different, and really this human, let's say, part of the whole human behavior, the way how really the AI model communicate with you, how you interact with the model. It's like I would say it's extremely close to
Yeah.
how you interact with people. So they've done for this part they've done a great job.
Yeah, I recommend just watching the demo for the math solving.
And
Remember
this was also
Yeah.
amazing.
the applications in education where you can basically have a tutor next to you and looking over what you're doing and explaining on the fly, explaining what are the what you see on the screen, how can you solve a specific riddle or equation or whatever it is. This will make so much progress, in terms of the kind of the possibilities in education.
We'll go in details about the education part of because there were some nice introduction on the Microsoft build, but you can go to the OpenAI channel and you can see all the videos there.
Yeah. Definitely
100%.
recommended.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
the last time we did a session, I think we were showing, or we were kind of giving the same perspective on the Sora video.
Yeah, we started with that. It
Yeah.
was,
So think about OpenAI as sort of the leading the innovation, because every time we talk about OpenAI, we say how close open source models are then trying to catch up, and then they publish something like this, which puts them in the lead again. And it's just a constant race between the open source community trying to catch up with OpenAI. But I think generally they have so many things that are sitting idle and just waiting to be published that are far, better.
especially with this move, with this intention and what they did in the last session. We really believe that their focus is in adoption. So how mass people will adopt AI. Some mentioned in some of his interviews about Good Neighbor, which is let's say showing what they're doing constantly, not cooking something in the basement. So even that they may have pretty interesting things to show. We guess that they're focusing on making this adoption a little bit more, let's say, slow, not with less mind blowing.
Yeah.
Or what was the term, very popular term which people are killing in YouTube? Our friends from different channels.
They're trying to persuade
Shock,
people.
the things that shock the industry.
They're trying to persuade more and more people who have been opposed to AI to start leveraging it for their own work.
Yeah.
I think let's mention briefly about the app, because I think this is also groundbreaking in terms of the usability.
Of course, this was very funny because after the announcement, everybody started searching for the app, and unfortunately, a lot of bad actors take advantage of this. So you can imagine all kind of download links,
malware applications,
malware, whatever you can imagine. But at the end, they were in their form actually. Someone posted a link before their announcement, so we've been able to install the application. But even that having the application, it said you're not onboarded yet, or something like that. But it took, I think, 2 days or something like this. It was pretty fast. I'm not sure if it's related to the paid or free version. I'm not even sure that for the free version you can use the app. And but still, the app, I would say the app is pretty nice. It has the controls a little bit better organized, especially this one with the data. Still don't have the voice and the screen sharing stuff, but I guess this will come pretty quickly. But can't wait, really.
The iOS applications and probably Android. I'm not sure which of the two, but I think iOS will be the first to kind of adopt the use of vision, so you'll be able to share your screen and talk to the agent. We're so used to saying agents. We talk to the model, so it can actually help you with and navigating through what you're doing. So some great things are coming from OpenAI that we're able to test.
No
And-
surprised, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they have been on the forefront
Mm.
since 2022, so
Yeah, that's
cannot expect anything less from them, right?
Can't wait for the voice part and especially the voice part. This was really impressive. So in the recent days, I saw they added some functionality regarding data integration.
Mhm.
So right now you can integrate directly, but it's working only on the web interface. This was a bit strange. So I guess it's maybe I'm not even sure which one is
It's easier to
moving faster.
integrate the SSO this way because you
Yeah, I
have the
guess
token.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason because you can integrate with OneDrive, Microsoft OneDrive, and Google Drive,
Yeah.
which brings some discussions, if I can say that way. I mean, so maybe it's not the best idea to integrate it with your company data, or that's for sure not the best thing to do. Or even with some personal data, if you have something that you don't want to share, anything sensitive data, but it's nice to have because you can have separate, let's say, account which you can use for, easier integration, just upload the stuff and go in there. And by the way, open source world is still catching pretty quickly because, okay, for this stuff with the voice and multimodality and having this omni way of interacting with the models, this may take time and for sure it will require other let's say some other services in order to achieve and to get the same experience. But as we know, there's a pretty nice open source project which provides very similar to the.
If you care about privacy, there are plenty of options that you can
Absolutely.
integrate multimodality using local models. It's just the whole package and the way OpenAI presents it. It's probably the best option for 90% of the users.
It's more affordable, easy to adopt because
you pay a monthly
Yeah.
fee. You don't care about anything else.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of reasons why to choose OpenAI. But if privacy is the number one factor, which for many it is,
Yeah.
then me and Nikki also personally think, although we stopped all of this, we had to click through disclaimers and give up or waive the ability for them to access our data. We still feel that in a way they're still being used as a product.
100%, and again, the sensitive data should stay with you.
Yeah.
So, as Nikki mentioned, it was a nice move from OpenAI to have this event just a day before the largest Google event, Google I/O, for the year. By the way, previously it was Google Next. Maybe this was
probably it will be named Google AI at some point or something.
Maybe this is separate. I don't know. It's maybe changed. In general, we have some understanding of GCP and Google offering, but as you know, we are focusing mostly on open source stuff and Microsoft services. So the event was pretty nice. They hired some DJ, which was pretty funny, I would say. I can imagine the experience. The live experience was pretty nice. As you can imagine, of course, Google have pretty solid portfolio of services. So, and we already consume it. For example, Google Photos, Google Workspaces, of course, Google Drive. So YouTube, and all of these services, they're now even more and more integrated, which perfectly makes sense because that's no surprise there. When you have the advantage of having the ecosystem, it's much easier to even move forward and faster by providing better and better integration with your services. So no surprise here. I didn't try any of these integrations yet. I'm not even sure when they would be available, but at least they sound pretty handy, interesting, and also it shows that there's a focus of making AI easier to adopt, easier to consume.
I think even they're making progress in without actually telling people to incorporate AI services directly into these workspace production suites, where you don't really think about, but there are plenty of AI models running on the back end, summarizing your data, presenting it in a way. So they've been doing this for a while now. The Gemini model, it's still not able to compete, at least from they're not marketing all these models very well, if you ask me. I mean, they have plenty of bad
Challenges with the
reputation over the past few months. So they're trying to make up for that by providing free services and trying to get more people onboarded. But the way, from what we see on the field is Google is not a major player yet on the AI field. I mean, OpenAI has the upper hand, along with Microsoft, who's basically selling OpenAI services. So we'll see, but that doesn't mean that they don't have good models. I think that's
there's their Gemini portfolio. It's covering a lot of the use cases. They even plan to integrate. I think this was quite old news, but we'll see Gemini Nano on their latest Pixel phone.
Yeah, that was a good move with the local AI.
Everybody's going in that direction. So Apple, as we will see in the several minutes, Microsoft as well. But I think Gemini is still not that bad, especially for organizations which are already on workspaces, and there are a lot of organizations using workspaces
in GCP.
In GCP, even larger organization. I think the majority of Fortune 500 companies, the large companies are using multiple services. They are not focusing on specific cloud services, so they have Azure, AWS, GCP, and what we saw. They still, let's say, I would say they're a major competitor.
They probably have better services for AI than AWS, if you ask me.
Well, they have. That's a tough question.
Yeah.
They have their better own AI models.
They're in a better position because they hold so much data for people.
Yes. For data, I think the only competitor to them is Meta.
Yeah,
maybe.
I mean, with YouTube and everything that they hold,
that's
it's only a matter of time before they create something.
Yeah, and I think these failures are okay. They're not that. I mean, this was big failures, fiascos, but at the end, there's a lot of lessons learned. Then
they were very close to removing their CEO because of that.
Yeah, I thought that they would remove it. But definitely, I would say that Google is after Microsoft / OpenAI, their major competitor in general. AWS as well. AWS with Bedrock services, they are catching up, especially with open source models that you can consume directly. They
Quad 3 as well.
Quad 3 Opus, which is extremely, by the way, it's extremely expensive. I'm not even sure. I don't know anyone using it
for APIs.
Perplexity is using them, but I guess they have totally different prices. But for general users, it's the price is it's really ridiculous.
Not very competitive.
Not very competitive. But you can still consume a lot of other services, and when you have this again, we're talking about ecosystem. And AWS is major cloud player, so it already have a clients and the ability to provide them easier, secure way, let's say private way to consume the services. It's
from the perspective of our framework that we're creating for AI, we try to be agnostic. So we are trying to judge all these services fairly, not being biased, because that's very important when you're making these sort of decisions.
That's the goal of having framework which provide practices guidance for every use cases, and you can let's say align it with your specific case. So even that we know the cloud services, they're pretty similar. They have similar functionalities, even that they can be implemented in different way together with the on-prem stuff. There's always, it depends, trade-offs, but yeah, it was, I would say the Google event was nice. They also, one big announcement I would say is this I think Vio, competitor of Sora. The videos was nice, and I would say that
the demos were impressive.
demos was pretty impressive.
I still feel it's not on the level of Sora, at least what they've shown, but
I was wondering on that, and I thought that it may be because we saw Sora, let's say, I don't know, a few months ago already, and now it's more like
maybe they didn't pick the right videos to show. I mean, like I said, Google for whatever reason has terrible marketing. They cannot really sell these services well for whatever reason. I don't know.
I think it's key here that we saw Sora a few months ago,
Probably,
and nobody expected.
And it was a few months ago. Imagine between
a few months, and I think nobody expected.
Few months in AI is too much.
Yeah, again, remember what we've been discussing last year at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can check the first video of our AI talk session. I think it was somewhere.
We need to do a revisit video just to see what we thought was going to happen and what actually happened afterwards.
I remember that we're discussing about the agents, and we were all in agents during that time. But
in AGI maybe we discussed. I don't know.
It was pretty fun. So yeah, they showed their latest TPUs, Trillium. I think it's 6th generation. So all of the major players are working on their custom silicons focused on inference. So because right now, let's say the NVIDIA GPUs, which are used, and AMD GPUs, which are used for inference, are, let's say, not the most optimal way of using them. That's why we have Grok, which are taking advantage of this benefit. And actually, the CEO of Grok is, I think, it's the founder of Google TPUs. So, and I think they are using KOPUs in Groks.
I don't know what's the difference, to be honest.
I guess
it's more of a
they also have there were some announcement about gems, which are like the custom GPTs. So again, as we discussed, different name of the services, similar functionalities. They create this project Astra, which also it's trying to compete with for all, pretty similar. Again, you can communicate with it with Gemini Live voice interaction. But that's I think that's it for Google I/O. It was nice event. Next week after that, we had pretty amazing, I would say, event from Microsoft. I was and even before
now people
Microsoft,
will think that we are Microsoft biased all the time.
of course, we have our preferences, but again, it's
just for the people who don't know. Historically, Build was a sort of a secondary conference for Microsoft. The biggest conference Microsoft has is Microsoft Ignite.
I guess this may be the case for Google I/O, but this we are not very familiar.
And Build was always this event where they did the strictly developer type of services, Visual Studio, back in the day. I mean. And in the last few years, it became so cloud-centric that it's mostly services in the cloud. And now with AI, it's mostly AI services that are being provided. But this time it was sort of like a mini Ignite, what they announced. There were so many new things that they shown. The hardware, like we already discussed on the Google side, hardware is a big thing now in AI.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to kind of push their own local AI inference.
Local chips.
Yeah, with the capabilities that we have in chips overall, and where we are, it's becoming less and less of a problem to run local models on laptops.
Yes, yes. Even before the event, actually before Build, Satya hosted. I don't know what was let's say the name or the purpose.
Just the first day of Build, before the actual conference.
Before the actual conference, because it was.
I think it's tied to Build.
It's
still,
yeah. Oh yes, it may be.
Yeah, just on Monday.
I think it's only for the people on site people.
Yeah, but he has a keynote.
Yeah. And actually, they announced this Copilot plus PCs exactly, where you have these separate chips which are very good in inference. I'm not sure that they would be good only in inference, but it makes perfectly sense. It makes perfectly sense, and trying to compete with Apple, because right now there's Apple chips are extremely good for AI, as we all know, and we can't wait for the imports, as we said multiple times. And yeah, they mentioned that this Copilot PC would be the most powerful PC on the planet. So we'll see. It would be very, as people in the field discussing, it would be nice to go back to Windows. I mean, especially for if they can provide this. Jumping directly, connecting with that on Microsoft Build, the announcement, they also announced this opportunity of to run the models. I think it was direct ML, if I'm not mistaken. So similar to MLX, I believe. So we should be able to run natively on Windows, the LLMs. So this can
just
provide
allow applications to talk to Windows and directly use the capabilities. So
yes, and in this way you get better performance. The MLX right now, it's I think is the best way to run local LLMs on the Apple Silicon.
Yeah.
Even better on from Llama CPP, etc.
Yeah, I mean it's this will become such a commodity at some point within Windows. It's going to be just like GPUs for at some point, and you provide APIs for games to use that, and now it will be just another capability. Still groundbreaking, but it will become the norm in on the operating system.
They started with actually pretty mind-blowing demo of Minecraft. This was like their Copilot built in in every Windows OS system, which looks like pretty familiar to GPT-4o. However, without the need of using the app, because it's already integrated, which perfectly makes sense. But it was pretty impressive. Definitely, you can have a look. So.
And Copilots from Microsoft in general are becoming more and more useful. I mean, the first versions and iterations of Microsoft Copilot, when people didn't like them, from what the kind of the experience that I gathered from folks talking with them, especially in enterprises, they didn't find Copilot very useful, although it's super expensive, obviously.
And 365.
Yeah, but now with the newer version with the newest models, which are fine-tuned on your data,
and also more affordable. The price
faster to respond.
The price per token become more and more affordable, and as you said, the speed is improved, quality is improving, speed is improving. So cheaper, faster, and with good quality, you will receive all of them. It's not just two of them, and that's the way. There were one announcement which was a bit underestimated, talking about the Copilot, but they announced a collaboration with Cognitive Labs, which were the guys who invented and introduced Devin. So we expect that this would be this will bring pretty significant impact to the copilots and the way how developers works and people who creates, not only developers. Right now it may become much easier to
become a developer.
To become a developer, to build something, and yeah, really to be able to build more, to ship faster, and yeah, to bring your ideas to life even faster with better quality. So can't wait to see what this will bring to the table. And based on the speed of innovation that we see, I guess this will happen pretty soon. So we just discussed with Nikki about the plans for the summer. So maybe we don't think that anybody will let's say pause for the summer month. So we can expect some nice stuff even September or something like that.
AI folks really don't take a break the way we see. Just ask us.
Yeah, accelerating everywhere. Yeah, they also introduced of course, you know, Microsoft is investing everywhere in everything, in their cooperation with OpenAI, in the cooperation with Meta, having Llama 3 open source available, all the models. We may have separate discussion about the changes in general in AI Studio and AI services. So Microsoft, as people, some people may know from our other channel, Cloud Talks, where we're discussing Microsoft services. They had pretty significant changes in their security portfolio. Some, let's say, unification of unified management planes, services, etc. So it's something similar happened but on a bit faster pace on the AI field. So maybe we can discuss this in separate discussion. But Microsoft right now also is they're focusing on providing everything much easier to consume, much easier to use with Azure AI Studio, and they're investing also heavily in open source world. You know, the 5 models. So during the event, they introduced their 5.3 models, which are the latest relatively small language models.
They already announced the 4 billion parameter before build a few weeks ago, but I think the 14 billion was available.
The medium one, mini and medium,
And we love these kind of models. We actually we really like the Llama 3 8 billion parameter model right now. It's probably one of the best options.
Yes, and 70B as well. Really, it's really good.
It's such a powerful tool that has been given for free. It's
and the ability to run it on your own hardware, on your own machine is it's really provide you more more ways, more freedom, if I can say that way. You're not dependent, and keep in mind the important part here is that each model is good in specific things. So without fine-tune them with your own, let's say, goal, your own data, the way how you would like to behave, let's say they have some, even that everybody is saying that the tests are really good, outperforming models for your specific case. It may not be the actual situation. So it's better to double check. For example, we test 5 models just because we're discussing about the Begel GPT, and you can see that the 5 models they're not able to speak, for example, Bulgarian. So it's which is not the case for Llama 3, for example, 8 billion. So really depend the case. But there were some introduction in the event. There were a lot of introduction, but Microsoft announced cooperation also with Khan Academy, where there working heavily to improve the way how education is provided by using again fine models. And what they mentioned, I wasn't able to test it, but they mentioned that it's really good with math.
Which is a problem in general for large language models.
Yes, and they showed some in the announcement. They show some videos, but talking about the education, which we already discussed, the video from from OpenAI, we believe that there will be huge shift. We do not agree with some of the YouTubers guys which mentioned that there will be big demand for teachers because as we saw it's if each of us can have let's say relatively for free or at some point completely for free individual tutor who can teach us in really effective way. So the biggest difference in the education, in good education, is it is for everything. It's how the specific services align with your needs. So you can imagine that a class of 20 people or 12 people, it doesn't matter, 5 people, even 2 people, it will not be that effective. There were also some announcement in their own ARM Cobalt. I think we discussed this. They announced it, I think, several months ago. So we discussed it. So not going in that direction. I think the first available AMD GPUs would be on Azure. So this was some announcement. I'm not sure if they are available right now or will be available later. But these GPUs actually provide the most effective. They're extremely cost effective. So as you know, the AMD GPUs may have some challenges with the drivers, etc. But the price performance is really good. So for your use case, if you can let's say align your solution to use them, it's much better to use them.
We'll be testing some AMD.
We are cooking some stuff here.
So soon we may have something to show as well.
Yep. Hopefully, like Jensen will bring something from the album.
And overall, just to kind of finish up on build, there is something called Book of Build and Book of Ignite, depending on the conferences. If you, it's sort of a summary of what has happened, and if you really want to, because we cannot really capture everything. Overall, there's so many things that are influential that has been announced last week. I'm sorry, but I encourage you, if you're really in this field, especially if you come from an infrastructure background like us, you will find a lot of this information very interesting.
Yep. 2 last things for build.
By the way, we have people who are eager to restart the topic of today.
We're starting the topic. 2 last things for the build, really important. Microsoft is, as you know, they are investing heavily in the agents. So, the Microsoft research team is working hard on the AutoGen. It's one of the major framework, our favorite framework. And now we see some kind of integration of it in the Microsoft services. So there will be some copilots which using agent would be able to solve different kind of more complex challenges asynchronously. So you'll be able to provide your challenges and let's say coming after 2-3 hours or receiving email or whatever, these challenges to be solved by, let's say, your AI team companion, if I can say that way. Again, everybody's talking for supercomputers. During the event, they show how some comparison between the different. So there were Orca and also Whale. That the latest computer would be much bigger supercomputer. So the focus is to bring more and more GPUs. Last week, even Elon Musk mentioned about that he's. By the way, he rose 6 billion for XAI, and as some people joking, 6 billion profit for Nvidia. that may be the case, but he's focusing on building 100,000 GPU data center, which is like 4 or 5 times bigger than the current Meta biggest GPU data center, which Mark discussed on his interview when announced Llama 3. I think it was 20,000 GPUs. So the focus is to have 5 times bigger. And his prediction is that we'll have AGI next year. So that's
or even close.
Or even close, yeah. But it sounds really that there is no limitation right now of the current.
Especially at the rate they are, spending money. So.
Yes, and everybody's continue to invest. We saw what happened with the Nvidia stocks.
They went beyond $1,000, which is kind of absurd.
And yeah, there will be 1 to 10 split.
On the hardware side, just to mention, there are a couple of sessions from Marcus, which was the CTO of Azure and sort of a very well-known technical person. He talks about in detail how the data center actually runs at Microsoft. It's really an astounding. Just they tackle such huge issues with orchestrating so many GPUs. So if you want to take a look at that, it will be interesting.
So moving to the main topic, as the updates was a lot. Really, we just got this.
We can have
situation where we had multiple events at the same time, and for very small.
We can have a whole meeting just to talk about events.
But again, we can, and everything become pretty obsolete pretty fast. So. As one of our friends mentioned, 2 days is the maximum amount of time which we can predict something. So if anyone told you what would be after 1 year or 2 years, you can, let's say, laugh a bit. So, from the cloud adoption framework, and actually for every digital transformation, there should be some kind of steering committee, some kind of team of people, which should be the people who are, let's say, the main drivers, the people who are really doing the actual transformation. In the cloud, they call it Cloud Center of Excellence, Cloud Team. So for the AI, there's no much difference. For example, there's no much difference between the AI CoE and Cloud CoE in terms of the way how you structure it, how
the staff that was doing
the staff, which is the people with their let's say responsibilities, the way how you're looking for use cases, etc. But so again, in order to have successful transformation, as we discussed in our successful cloud adoption or any transformation, everything is starting with the leadership alignment. So once we have this alignment and this commitment, we have the vision. So and the leadership is really focused on this let's say transformation/adoption, in order to bring AI to the company and make everybody in the company more effective, make their product and services more competitive. It's time to bring the right people which will start working for this.
And just so people understand, we are not talking about this from a sort of the perspective of we're coming this from experience. Both of us are part of AI CoEs.
Yes. Previously, we've been part of cloud CoEs. We've been establishing this.
We've seen all of these issues. So that's why we sat down. I mean, for the people who don't know, because we probably have people who joined for the first time.
Yes.
We are coming at this problem from the experience of seeing what issues we saw in the last year or so. I mean, when Gen AI CoEs actually started forming in kind of huge companies. And we're trying to gather that experience, the mistakes that were made, and we try to highlight them and show. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities with the cloud CoE, but at the same time, there are many different things that should be noted.
Yes, yeah. So, for example, the main difference is that in the majority of cloud adoption frameworks, the CoE is coming after the strategy. And we don't believe that this is the case in AI CoE. We believe that this is one of their main responsibility to work with the leadership and build the strategy. Because we don't believe that the leadership can build a strategy by itself, especially for a field that it's, let's say, they can build it to some extent on a high level, but in order to be successful, they really need people from
At
the
least
field,
not
the
now.
people. Yeah. And by the way, when we're talking about AI CoE, the structure can be it can be logical. Sometimes the leadership can be AI CoE. So for example, if we are talking about small company, like 5, 10, 20, 50 people, whatever, if you have 2, 3 people which are driving the entire company, and but the specific structure, domain, it's let's say does not require having or does not have people with the necessary knowledge, the leadership can become the AI CoE. They can become the people who are building all of this stuff together. There could be situation where the CoE is not dedicated team, but it's logical team. When we're having like small mid-sized companies, again, the CoE could be people which have, let's say, other responsibility, other focus, and they're just spending some amount of time for this kind of work. Of course, you have to know that there's some trade-offs of having logical teams, and this is that the logical part is always less important than the physical part of, let's say, the main focus. So that may not work for larger companies, and we saw that together in multiple situations with the cloud, especially with the cloud. Nikki may confirm, but what we see with AI CoEs is that there is more commitment of the leaders. It looks like that it's easier for them to convince, and we cover this part that this time we don't need much to spend much effort or time to convince people that AI is something that we're going to change the world. Everybody's seeing, so it's much easier to convince people. And right now we see more and more dedicated CoEs. So let's say the logical CoEs is not something that is let's say that popular in larger organization as was the cloud CoEs, because the people in the past treated cloud CoEs more like a separate data center. So here we have the alignment, we have the vision. What's next? Starting with the CoE structure. Of course, you have to, the most important people are the people that understand the domains. So you need the people, someone from the business that can, first of all, can have direct connection with the business in order to grab the use cases, have the main challenges of the use cases, and in general can communicate well with the businesses. It's welcome from the business, because remember, the main role of any CoE is to be able to make other people, the people in the company, to work with the CoE, because the CoE itself, it's like, as some mentioned, the guy in the basement that is doing something and then comes with something that shocks the industry, and everybody is shocked. There's, the initial immediate resistance. I'll lose my job, etc., etc. Not a good things. So definitely the success of the CoE can be easily measured by the willing of the other teams to work with the CoE. And especially with the AI stuff, Nikki mentioned on our last 2 sessions, it's really important to gather the use cases, because you can be the best data scientist, AI engineer, but you may be very good playing with your local models, and that's super. But if you don't have use case, you don't know what you would like to solve.
what the company is doing,
You
which
don't
is generally
understand
true.
yes, So it's really important to have someone to connect the dots. That's the thing, and to bring the the decent technical guys and connect them with the business guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not necessary to have such a people. It's really depend to on the soft skill levels of the other folks in the COE, where you can, of course, you will find people which understand very well the enterprise data, the organization, which you have some people which are good software developers, you have people which are coming with security backgrounds, because security is really important, especially nowadays with all these shadow IT, etc. The people which are still have some understanding of the AI machine learning domain, which are able to, let's say, fine tune. You may require some people, it really depending how infrastructure guys, like infrastructure / DevOps people, which will help you to, let's say, build these solutions. Remember, it's a team. So 6-8 people, something like this, it's pretty good start, I would say.
What I would like to add is that what we're seeing, and this is probably true for most big companies, is you already have a lot of woke people, quote unquote, within your organization who actually are already interested in AI. They are actually experimenting with this on their own kind of internal processes, or maybe at home. I don't know. Really depends. And the local business leaders are already pushing their own staff to test out AI without waiting on the AI COE to materialize in the company. So, like we said, the biggest difference, probably one of the biggest differences from previous technology waves, is that it's now the urgency of adopting is actually coming from the business rather than IT is coming to.
Previously there were also some
Yes, but
situations, not to this extent.
And
100%.
You will probably be able to find many people in the org who actually want to participate in a COE, and maybe not in full time, maybe not strictly in the COE, but they will be very helpful to you to gather the use cases, help maybe empower them by providing them access to models or capabilities that they don't typically have access to.
Yes. And remember that it's exactly in the previous discussion regarding the leadership, we mentioned that it's good to start with some kind of initial communication plan to prepare the people, to provide them some kind of tools that they can already start using in order to help to the COE to people already to have some ideas, as Nikki mentioned, to already see what's possible, and of course to be willing to work with the COE. I think it's clear for majority of people, but it's best if you can bring the best people in this team. So let's say from each of these domain, it's really it really would make difference if you bring people which are able to execute, able to deliver, and recognizable from within the organization. So
and also they want to be here because
that's the first thing.
Yeah.
So if you bring someone which don't want to be here in the, let's say, in the innovation, in the innovation people should love their job. That's, I think it's the key. And
otherwise it's just too demanding and it's difficult.
It doesn't make any sense. Nowadays it's very hard to find someone in innovation who don't love. I
don't think so.
Okay, at least carefully. I guess we are trying to have one.
I mean, I would hope so, but I can see many cases where people just end up part of a COE, and they treat this like another project, which is
that's a big pity. Let's say that way. So once we have this team of let's say people that are really want to help to bring the AI to the organization that are let's say empowered by the leadership, because this is extremely critical, as we touched in our previous session. So these guys should be should have the leaders who together working with them closely. But what are their main responsibilities? So they, as we discussed, one of the differences, they have to start preparing the overall strategy. How the so imagine as a leader of the organization, now you have the right people, let's say the right ingredient for in order to make a successful dish and yeah, delicious delicious dish. So once you have the right people, it's much easier to prepare the strategy. It's much easier to build it because you have people from each domain of the organization. Imagine the leaders are, let's say, driving the company. They know, let's say, on a sometimes not on a high level, but in pretty decent levels. But right now, with this team, they have the absolutely full visibility on the organization, and they have fast connection. So the team have specific goal to help the organization to adopt AI, which everybody is dedicated, as Nick mentioned. This for sure is the first most important thing, to people to want to be there, to want to help with us. So building the strategy in this format would be much easier and faster, and I would say successful job, comparing to as suggested to allow the strategy to be built by just the leaders.
And let me
strategy before the leaders.
and let me explain why wanting to be present in a CoE like this is essential, because right now, if you work in an AI establishment or a CoE or something that looks over the strategy, it's such a difficult job to do because there's so many moving targets. This is not an established process because of all of that change that's happening like on a weekly basis. You have to constantly think about the results that you're going to be providing, because at the end of the day, the CoE will be judged based on its results, right? Right now, it has been granted a lot of, in most cases, a lot of money to get AI in place, but at some point, these results have to be quantized, so that you have to know how much you actually gain by implementing AI. And if you are not that kind of a person who wants to be there and accepts this challenge, which is very difficult. This is not, I would say it's much difficult than it was in the cloud.
Yeah.
Maybe not in the early days of the cloud when it was still changing as well.
In the early days, there weren't much strategy stuff.
People didn't know what they were doing.
Exactly.
But now it's so surreal. Every day there's something happening. Every choice that you make, you have to be able and you have to be agile to change it the next week, and basically throw away the work that you've done in a week just because you've changed direction. So that's really demoralizing, and for people who don't want to be there, they don't understand why they're even doing this. That's what I'm seeing in the field.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
You have to find the right people. It's essential. That's why we put so much emphasis on the CoE, and that's why we think it's going to be very hard for organizations who don't find the right people initially to get AI in place.
It's important here to mention about external support in this kind of transformation. It's sometimes even recommended, if you don't have the knowledge, to invite someone external to help you, but you should try to retain this external knowledge, because both of us been working for tens of years in let's say client organizations, where we saw how external people came, external consultants came, provide some suggestions, do their work, and they left. and after that nobody's aware of what was done, how it was done. There's also other challenges when inviting external organization to help with digital transformation because they're external people, and here we're discussing that there should be trust, credibility, these people that should drive this, that they should be easy, recognizable with some previous successes within the organization. So it's much easier to trust to someone that, let's say, helped you to move your application to the cloud, and
Yeah.
right now you're much more scared, you're very happy. You trust this guy when this guy came to you and say, hey, we can help you to integrate some AI services. Let's discuss this. You are much willing to discuss with him, much willing to share what are your problems and how you believe that these problems can be solved. So that's why this is, let's say, there should be some kind of balanced approach. You
Yeah.
should be looking for external help, which can help you with how to do it, what to do it, but at the end you have to do it.
And fast track the whole process.
Yeah. By the way, this fast track offering are exactly for this kind of stuff. So this can be really helpful. So we've been discussing about the strategy, and if you remember in our last session, by the way, you can check it in our channel. You already have some high-level strategy. So when we are saying that leadership, let's say the decent detailed strategy, it's coming after gathering some kind of information. But the AI CoE once built, you already have some high-level strategy, which will be built by the leadership. So this strategy includes, as we mentioned, how to structure the team, what would be the responsibilities of the team, and once we know how to structure it, one of the major responsibility of the team is to start gathering the use cases of the organization, start working with the organization. As Nikki may share, it's this process, as always, is it's time consuming. So it's because at the end you are working with people, but also you have to start working on preparing your data, because here for the use cases you need to communicate with people, but as you know, you can do some good stuff with your data. In order to do something with your data, you have to perform this, let's say, data readiness assessment, if we can say it that way, to see where is the company data, how each of what is the current data strategy, how this is utilized by the organization, because we saw some organizations which okay, we have data strategy, but this data strategy is used by, let's say, 30% of the organization, and there's still a lot of let's say the data is not on one place combined in good shape, let's say, but everybody is using their own services in order to store the data. So this is also important challenge that needs to be addressed, and the AI CoE team should think about how this can be tackled. Of course, for each of these initiatives, there should be, internal people which are most knowledgeable. This is actually their domain. So, for example, for the data strategy, there should be like a big data guy who can lead this initiative. For the use case identification, the lead should be the guy from the business who is can bring some information, and just bringing people from the business, having the discussion with the other technical folks, answering questions, etc., etc.
Just to mention on the strategy, it's important to note that the decision making when it comes to, let's say, picking which services you're going to be using shouldn't be based on what you did in the past. So let's say if you are a AWS company, we're giving the examples of cloud because cloud is the easiest to start using models nowadays without a lot of initial investment. You shouldn't be making only that decision based on
this is especially true for the small organization,
Yeah.
which are more agile, with the organization which are from the technical business, and as we discussed, the majority of large vendors,
Yeah.
they're using other clouds as well. But here it's important because you already have some expertise, right? So
Yes.
in order to start, we're talking about the start. You start faster if you take what you already know.
Also already, I agree. It's just people get so isolated just thinking about, I won't adopt anything else just because it's easier to do this, let's say, in a given cloud. Which in the long run, it's not a good option because these AI capabilities will become more diverse, and some will be a lot cheaper to manage. And if you're gonna be thinking about scale, maybe this won't make sense.
So that's the one of the very important role of AI CoE is to be able to identify these trade-offs. So in order, as the main focus at the beginning is to quickly onboard the organization, to start to make people more and more aware of what possible with AI. Maybe it would be easier to use whatever is already established, whatever is already in place. But as Nikki mentioned, it's really important to not fall in what we bought so multiple times. Why questions like why you're learning this as we are not using it in our company. So it's really this is part of the let's say the onboarding process of which kind of people you should bring to the AI CoE. They have to love their work, their domains, but usually that's the case. They are people that love what they are doing. They are open-minded. They are really.
And there has to be a discussion between maybe the stakeholders have a point about using a specific technology.
And sometimes it's the majority of companies are going some kind of hybrid, so they're using multi-cloud, and of course they're using it on-prem AI services because for they're for the sensitive data, they're not allowing this to the cloud, which perfectly makes sense. But that's in order to build this strategy, you're bringing the use cases, as you may say on our how to say overall high-level AI adoption framework structure. We have something really important which also fall under the AI CoE responsibilities, and this to initiate culture development, AI culture adoption, to bring the way how people in the organization shall be educated. What is as you see even the largest organization, the frontiers are focusing not that much on the capabilities of their product. Of course, capabilities are moving, but we see this shift of we have enough capabilities, but what we see, people are not using them, and that's really the case. Last year we've been using GPT-4 for more than a year right now.
Yes.
So it's nothing new, but right now what we see more and more people start using it because with these demos that we discussed with Copilot, with Minecraft Copilot.
There is some FOMO as well. I mean, people are
There's
saying
I think, by the way, I think the FOMO is becoming like less and less use case, especially these demos with the built-in Copilot, especially for the large enterprises. If everybody received their built-in Copilot, they can share their screen and they said, I have this and these challenges, and the companion, the Copilot told you what to do.
That's really mind-blowing. Yeah.
This is mind-blowing. Then this is so it's really important this team to start building the culture, to trying as fast as possible to show that using AI is recommended. This is the recommended way of working. To speak more about efficiency, it's we're discussing about the efficiency maybe each session, to explain people that AI will not going to take your job, it will make you more efficient. which of course means that if you don't become more efficient, it will take your job. But the message should be focused really to show you what's possible, what you can do using AI, and how you can spend your time more optimally. You can think about, let's say, you can be much more creative. As we discuss each time, now is the best time for creative people that
And
want
also-
to bring to deliver.
And also the company will be paying for something that will may have an influence on your own personal life. I
Of
mean,
course,
if the company is paying for GPT-4 or whatever model there is, maybe kind of one of the bigger ones, and you start using it for your work, then you're gonna think about the next time you think about something that you're gonna do on your personal time.
of course,
And this kind of this can be the eye opener that people
Yeah.
need, you know.
the spark. Exactly, and it could be that's the responsibility of the AI CoE. Taking, for example, for sensitive data, there could be some, there should be, not could be, there should be some internal AI copilots that people can easily use. Once they identify the use cases which impacting most people, they can show them pretty quickly how this can allow the people to save time. At the end, it's really make us more efficient. It's about having more time to do stuff. So instead of going, let's say, easy example, wiki pages, documentation. It doesn't make any sense to waste time searching for something when you can put your question, structured question, and ask for what you need and to receive the right answer. It doesn't matter in which way, if it's text or speech or whatever, but this culture development, this plan of providing this, how to say, this help to bring people and show them what's possible, it's foundational, it's crucial, and this is one process which is it's going through the other phases, as you may see. And sorry again, we can't share right now, but you can see on the overall framework. This can include, of course, the trainings. We see a lot of organization investing in training people from the business, not IT people, not only IT people, because this is really for everybody. As Nikki mentioned, it may have impact even to your personal life. When you see that in the organization that you can, ask question and receive answer directly instead of wasting time or doing whatever, or create some charts or whatever use case you can imagine, you can start paying, let's say, and
It's a misconception that this is an IT service. It's basically. It will be. I mean, the vision is from people who are a lot smarter than us that this will become a commodity like electricity, water, internet. This is the next thing that you're going to be using as something.
So
as part of your life.
Yeah, definitely the main if we can conclude the main let's say responsibilities and main focus areas of the so not for responsibility, of course, the AIC week shall bring all the governance, best practices, how to prepare some kind of part of the strategy, and what kind of services should be using. Let's say high level, this data would be for this kind of services. We're going to use cloud services for this kind. We'll build something on premise. We have good relationship with NVIDIA, so for the on-prem we'll bring these specific services to decide each of these how to say best practices, governance part, policies, etc.
Here is important to find your partners in the individual kind of divisions like risk management, IT security,
That's the point
legal, privacy, all of these, because you as a COE cannot interpret a lot of these policies that are strictly tied to the business, and you have people like this to help you, but they have to partner with you. So technically they are an extension also to the COE in a sense.
Absolutely. So that's the reason why you should have someone from security part of your COE, because especially for larger organization, it may be harder to communicate. For example, if you don't have anyone from the security COE, it may be harder to communicate with the, let's say, security legal team. But when you have someone from security, and as we mentioned, the best option is to bring the best people. You know, for this guy, it would be much easier to go to his colleagues or peers from similar teams and discuss whatever is needed and work together and bring because the security is a really crucial point, and shallow AI is much more popular than the shallow cloud that is cloud services in the past, because shallow AI can be,
it's much easier to do.
Much easier to do, and just to mention, VDIs don't help you at all. Right now you can put your camera and stream live and having the entire information ready. So I still see a lot of organizations which have awful security practices, and they're not covering any layer of security apart from the VDI. You know, we have VDI. Anyway, this is another discussion. But it's really easy to bypass company security policies and practices. So that's why it's important to bring this to make people to make this cultural shift, to provide and also to provide to people the right tools that can be used. So provide the tools that can be used and show them how to use them, and show them why it's good to use them. What are the benefits of use them? So this we'll have separate session for the cultural development. There would be some skill gaps analysis. There will be some work with people responsible for let's say the HR teams, etc., etc. So yeah, if we can conclude for the AI COE, main focus and responsibilities are once we have the right people, is to identify the use cases, to prepare this prepare the strategy in detail, which will come next. Let's say we'll discuss this in detail next time. To prepare the people in the organization for this, to help them adopt AI by providing, of course, this should be also well planned, discussed, how people will become, let's say, more and more involved in AI. Yeah, that's I think that's about it. Maybe it's worth to discuss some of the challenges that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
The major one, which I would say is not enough support from leadership. This could be, I would say, this would be pretty painful in each direction, because when you want someone to do something, but to do it by its own, that's not the way how it's working. So leadership with AI COE should actually, AI COE is just extension of this first alignment, vision, willing to do something. So these are the actual guys that are doing it, and in order to doing it right, they should have your back. I mean, that's it's much harder to
and defend the decisions that are being made. Because
exactly, defend the decisions, because again there's big resistance. We saw in each this transformation there's big resistance from everybody, especially in today. So it's good that people know what AI is capable. They know that can help, but also they believe that this may impact their actual job. So there is some
still
resistance.
A year before, I mean, in the past 12 months, I can see people's opinion changing. So they are being convinced, with the everyday marketing of AI, integrations, all of these conferences, news, and everything else. They are starting to feel that this is not going away, and it will be part of their work and sense. So I think that more people are willing to adopt this new way of work. But still, like you said, the leadership. Leadership has to defend the mistakes that are being made by the COE because the COE will make mistakes.
Of course, because this is something new for the organization, and it make. Well,
And it's
I
not
mean-
only about the money. It's not only about okay, I'll
No.
give you these $1 million to form the COE and buy
Yeah.
some services from someone, and then you have to give it back a year from now in the form of kind of optimizations and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is not typically what happens, unfortunately. I mean, it would be great if it works this way, but in kind of large scale organizations, especially the ones that are more tied to, let's say, manufacturing than tied to data, because data driven companies will probably get more benefits from AI
Of course,
initially.
that could be another challenge of
Yeah.
The data
Type of business, yeah.
The
Where it
data
is,
service.
what form it is. You
Yes.
know.
How at what stage is the organization with their let's say data strategy, data maturity, and how they're
Nowhere.
using data? Yeah, that's,
I mean, a few years ago we didn't have
yes.
data divisions.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But that's one of of the challenges that you may face. Also, you may face a challenge where you don't have actually people. Not all organizations have AI, ML people, or as you said, big data people.
Yeah.
So this could be a challenge, and that's why again you can bring someone external to help with these specific domains.
I heard that now there is a title in some companies, something like chief of data,
Mhm.
like
Oh, that's-
part of the executive staff, and it's responsible for managing it because AI. A lot of the times is tied to data in terms of where it will end up in the organization.
There could be even here we're talking about even data quality. So the challenge may be won't just even from the beginning of your company that you didn't gather data enough or you didn't gather it in a way that it should be. But again, it's much better to resolve this. So finding these kind of challenges is still a win, right? Because if you face these challenges, it would be easier to start someone addressing it, to help someone addressing it, to flag it that there is a challenge. We've been talking about the resistance, for sure. That would be a big challenge. You can expect huge resistance, but as we said, there is a way. Again, that's why it's important to bring your best people in the COE. We discussed this part of the security, so this would be a pretty challenging how to really design the tools and the solutions that you're going to use, which have the balance of usability and but at the same time making sure that your data are not is not leaving the organization. Maybe some best practices to share. So we discussed already for the leadership alignment.
Having a very, very good innovation team is probably key for the COE. Having people who are actually, people who are interested in this stuff, even outside of work, really helps a lot.
The right guy,
This helps kind of spread the bug to
Yeah.
other people and get them more kind of influential people within innovation.
lifelong learners.
Yeah. People who are able to kind of transfer this passion over to other people is also kind of key, because the more passionate people you have, and especially on the innovation side, where you're not really frustrated about the constant changes and everything that's happening, but you're morally embracing it. That's what really helps the morale across the COE, because you can actually have people who others look up to and say, okay, this guy is really helping us solve something.
And that's why, as we discussed, it's really important to have the right people which willing to learn. By the way, there is one anti-pattern in this part, because there's still people which are really love what they are doing, but it's important also to be people which can deliver, because
Yes.
there's people which love something, they love to learn, but their actual focus is more like to learn new things. And here you also have to think about the balance. That could be balance within the team. It's important to have people that love to learn, but also pair with people that can deliver. So when you have this kind of best of both worlds, the one guy can bring the new technology and the other can help. No, we can go with that and that direction. That's why it's important also to have some metrics. That some timelines. It really depends on your specific use case, but you have to focus more on be fast than bring quality, because as we discussed with Nikki and as Mitko mentioned, 2 days. So of course we are kidding. You can bring prepare a strategy for 2 days, but thinking about something like 6 months, 1 year, it's already.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah, it's unrealistic. So it's focusing something really 1-3 months maximum. Something like this should be at the maximum your focus of preparing your strategy, gathering use cases, and have some kind of pilots. We'll discuss this in the late session.
Think about it from this perspective.
No.
If AI continues to evolve at the pace that it's currently evolving and the amount of money that are being spent, by the time it calms down, by the time you feel that, okay, now I have a horizon of 1 year, 2 years, it will be at such a transformative stage where a lot of the things will not be, they will be self-organizing.
Yep. That's why it's
Maybe the CoE would not exist at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, it may be, but it's important also to think about to start small and scale. This
Yes.
was on the other. This is not something new. It's part of the other best practices. Also, it's good to involve people to CoE and let's say from time to time in order to spread the knowledge, spread the the motivation, the
We
movement.
have a lot of sessions to show kind of captivating videos or stuff that you've done on your own and you feel it's going to be usable to other people. That really helps other people being more engaged, because you can actually see, okay, my friend who sits next to me has done this, maybe I can do it.
Yeah. So if I think that was it on a high level. We'll be happy to discuss this in more details. It's there's no one formula that will fit all, but on a high level, there's you can if you follow let's say this guidance and tie it to your specific use case, your business domain, situation, people, current culture level. So, for example, it would be much easier to be adopted in organizations which are, let's say, cloud native and everything is infrastructure as a code, Kubernetes, etc. And like the IT team of the organization is like 80%, comparing with the organizations which are just in domains which are, let's say, a little bit more disconnected from IT.
Still print paper and
but it really, as we
It's
discussed
part of the
previously,
business,
it can help everywhere. That's our, not only our, but we truly believe that AI will help everywhere in each domain. It's there's no domain that can help. So, hope you like our new format in YouTube. We'll try to, as Nikki mentioned, to be constant. There is no vacations for our field, and we'll see you at the end of next month, moving forward with the next session.
if you have any other questions, you can post it in the chat, or if you can email us as well.
We have a meetup, as you know, meetup channel, and we always try to create these events in LinkedIn as well, so you can find us easy.
And make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, it's the easiest way, and you can check the other sessions as well. So it was pleasure for us, and wish you wonderful
wonderful day, and